Well, hey, welcome back to Country Fried Rock. We dug out a couple of old hard drives, found some of these old episodes from 2009 through 2020, and figured, what the hell, y'all should hear them. Ton of fantastic musicians and bands, many of whom are still out there making great music. I decided to just throw some of these old episodes back out there. They have not been re-edited, so half these places don't even exist anymore. Never mind the URLs, don't even bother. But a lot of these bands really made great music, and I want you to hear it. Dig them up on your favorite streaming service if you can't find them elsewhere, and go see a show if they're still playing. So if you're new to Country Fried Rock, starting back in 2009, this was a syndicated radio show that aired in more than 50 markets across the globe. The structure follows some of the format of older syndicated radio programs, and we left it that way. So we'll bounce around back into the archives and let us know if there's anybody in particular you'd like us to try to dig up off these extremely disorganized hard drives. No matter what, we sure appreciate you being here. You can toss some money in the tip jar, or what the hell, join the fan club. But it's most important that you check out this music. It's all there for you these days on countryfriedrock.com and your favorite podcast app. Tell a friend, smash that follow button, and give us a 5-star rating and review. That hasn't changed, no matter how much my hair color and eyeglasses have. Thanks for being here. This week on Country Fried Rock, I talk with Lee Gallagher of Lee Gallagher and the Hallelujah. Their self-titled, kind of debut record just came out in January. This Midwestern songwriter formed his band in the Bay Area of San Francisco, merging his indie rock roots with the psychedelic folky vibe of the area. It's a great record and a fun conversation with Lee Gallagher today on Country Fried Rock. We really appreciate your support for Country Fried Rock. Every so often, we offer a limited edition t-shirt, only on sale for 3 weeks, and when they're gone forever. Our brand new design is a spark plug with a very small Country Fried Rock logo, on sale now for 3 weeks only at teespring.com/countryfriedrock4. It's the limited edition t-shirt number 4, designed by Skillet Gilmore, noted musician and designer with Crawl Space Press. They're super soft, women's, kids, V-neck, hoodie, long sleeve, and they're all on sale right now for 3 weeks only. teespring.com/countryfriedrock4. Get yours before it's gone forever. My guest today on Country Fried Rock is Lee Gallagher with a brand new self-titled record, Lee Gallagher and the Hallelujah. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, how'd y'all end up out in California?
I think all of us fell into the dream of California, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't begging to leave. I'm from Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a great music scene, great history. You know, I've met all sorts of people there. Bootsy Collins lives there. I met his brother Catfish before he died, which is cool. Just lots of cool stuff. But I don't know, we all kind of met out here. We're all from Indiana and Ohio and Louisiana. We came together kind of by accident. I met Kirby, who plays the piano, playing in the street. I walked past him, and he had an upright piano out in the street, and he was playing with a drummer. And I kind of just had to stop and turn around, and I got up the courage to kind of ask what they were doing. And then we kind of hooked up, and then everybody kind of fell in.
When did it kind of gel and become like, hey, I think we're a band?
Well, I drove over to meet with Kirby. First of all, I love the piano, and it's very rare to find somebody who really plays the piano. A lot of times you see people kind of standing behind a keyboard holding down chords, but this guy can play, and so I was excited to meet him. And I drove over to his house. He lives in El Cerrito over in the East Bay, the only thing I knew about El Cerrito is Our Holy Records, blues, folk-based record labels based out of there, and that's where John Fogerty's from. So that's the only thing I knew. So I went over there, and it was cool to drive around there, and I went to his house. He has an upright piano in his house, and I kind of just sat down and played some old blues songs, and that was it. And then we got Jacob Landry, who plays the guitar from Louisiana. I met him on Craigslist. That was the only Craigslist involved in the thing. Pretty much Craigslist for me is all I did is list 10 cool bands, and he replied. You know, I put Graham Parsons, the band, Neil Young, Humble Pie, that kind of stuff. So he came over, and then we just kind of all fell in and started playing.
As y'all got together and started playing, were you just jamming from the offset on your own stuff? How did that develop?
Well, the funny thing was, when I moved here, I kind of forced myself to learn how to record myself, which I was never really interested. A lot of people were doing that kind of home recording, bedroom stuff, and I was just so untechnical trying to do that. So I had all these songs, and I wrote a bunch of new songs, and I was just kind of doing it in my bedroom, and I would go down to the desert down in Joshua Tree, and I met a friend of mine was recording some of my stuff in his house, and he would bring friends over, and the people down in Joshua Tree who kind of ended up playing on my record were people I was huge fans of. Victoria Williams, I don't know if you ever listened to her.
Yeah.
She sang on this thing that I did, and this guy Wally Ingram who played Sheryl Crow. He's been touring with Eric Burden. He comes and plays a lot up in the Bay Area, but I had all these amazing musicians playing on the record, and I had this record out, and I didn't really know how to, but I lived up in San Francisco, and so I needed a band. I had this record, which hopefully people get to hear that one too, because it kind of got pushed under the rug when I got this new thing going, but I just kind of was wanting a band to play the songs live, and so... But once we got into that, then all these new songs came, and we kind of had our own identity. So we started playing live, and we kind of really caught on in San Francisco doing something that it seems like nobody else is doing, which is kind of cool. We didn't really mean to do anything that nobody's doing. It just kind of happened. So, yeah, and it's just we went into the studio and put out a record, recorded it. About 9 days. It took us 9 days to do the whole record. So,
hey, y'all, this is Sloane Spencer, the host of Country Fried Rock. We've had an incredible year with more people finding us on the radio and our podcast than we ever imagined. Thank you all so much. Careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
Hey, this is Lee Gallagher on Country Fried Rock.
And where did you go to record that?
It's a place called Light Rail Studios. It's in San Francisco. It's actually, we have a rehearsal space there, and the studio's attached, and we actually wandered down the hall, and there's a studio there, and the guys who own it are great. Crazy Horse would record there. Betty Cantor, who used to do, she started recording the Grateful Dead live, so all the live stuff, they have the Betty's tapes, the Betty's boards, they call them. So she was in there doing some stuff for Chris Robinson.
Oh, my gosh.
Recorded him live. And so, it's just very, San Francisco is a small town. The people you run across are just crazy. And so I felt really at home in that place. And so we just kind of had these songs. We went in and played all night, really. Just did our thing. And the record that we put out is essentially all the drums and the bass and the live stuff is that one night. And then we kind of just built on that.
Wow, that's great. Did you have anyone operating in a producer role, or were you all doing that yourselves?
It was kind of self-produced. Nick, who owns the studio, was really into what we were doing. It's a very unproduced record, but he did some great stuff as far as the engineering and stuff that he did is pretty cool.
What was the name of that other record?
It was called Valley of a Dying Breed. Didn't get to do the proper publicity and everything for it, but there's some good songs. There's some good songs with me and Vic singing on, and it's more kind of acoustic-y, heavier stuff too. But when we did this record, it turned out to be more psychedelic and more heavy, and it just kind of happened. I always kind of compare us to Crazy Horse meets the Heartbreakers. Tom Petty always talks about how he has like the best rock and roll band ever, and that's why he never gets new people to play with, because he's like, why would I?
So tell me a little bit about the visual of the album cover and the artwork that goes with all of that.
Well, that was kind of funny. Doing art, I guess I'm kind of hard to work with and kind of opinionated, but being somebody who can't really do anything. Like, I know what I want, I guess, but I can't really do it, and so I guess I can frustrate people with. So anyway, it was just, actually that photograph, it's my face. Everybody's like, oh, you need to be on the cover. And I was like, okay. So then I just had a bunch of pictures taken in a drunken night one night. But those are the ones that I kind of liked. And so I was like, can you just kind of make this into some kind of image? And so I had this guy who's actually in Cincinnati, a friend of a friend, he was a graphic guy, and he knew that he sent that right away. I just said, can you do something like this? And he sent it right away. I was like, yep, that's it, done. So I'm a big fan of birds. When I first moved here, we went up to, there's the greatest concentration of bald eagles in North America at the border of Oregon and California, right around this time of year. And so when I first moved here, I drove up there. It's in the middle of nowhere, but there's just like bald eagles, like pigeons. They were doing a very country thing down there. They were baptizing my little nephew in the swimming pool, and a bald eagle flew over down there in Kentucky, and they said it was me in spirit being there.
Explain to me how you became Lee Gallagher and the Hallelujah, and you're spelled with the J-A-H, not the I-A.
I've always had an affinity towards gospel music, and what we were trying to do is, if you ever listen to anybody who's really, really singing, they're usually singing gospel music and just singing their heart out and losing themselves. And so coming up with the band's hard, and I just had that solo record out, so I kind of had that, my name on it already, but I really am a band-type person. I love being in bands. I love the music that a certain group of people make together and the interplay and all that kind of stuff. So it was a lot about Victoria, too, down in the desert. She would go in the desert, the sunsets are spectacular. The sky is purple and pink and crazy, and she would just come out and say, "Hallelujah! It's a hallelujah sunset. You all seen this?" So it was just something simple, but something kind of cool that I was like, why not? But I wanted to call them something. I wanted to have the band called something, not just call it Lee Gallagher.
So for a band that's fairly new, what's working for you all?
I think what's working for us is just when we go play, there's just an energy that, I don't know, we're going to tap into when we play, and it's really coming across, and the people are getting into it, and happening really fast. We've had a lot of good opportunities, like right away, like we had to open for the Doobie Brothers at Shoreline Amphitheater down in Mountain View, which is like, I know it because that's where Neil Young holds the bridge benefit. It's a big Grateful Dead, like, you go into the venue and there's just a huge steal your face symbol over the thing. So it had a really cool vibe, and the Doobie Brothers are great. So we got to play with them and just different stuff. We got to open for Living Color, which is cool. Those guys really loved us. And just different stuff is happening like really fast, and we're lucky to get on the ball and put a record out that is coinciding with the energy that's happening with our live shows.
Hey, y'all, this is Sloane Spencer, the host of Country Fried Rock. Those of y'all who listen on our podcasts, it's a quick hit of just the conversation. If you want the full radio program with all the songs that we talk about, ask for it on your local radio station, joining 20 other stations across the country. Get the goods at countryfriedrock.org.
Hey, y'all, it's Lee Gallagher, Gallagher, in case you were confused. If you want to know more about our debut album, check it out at leegallaghermusic.com.
What do you all listen to currently?
All sorts of different stuff. I mean, Kirby, our piano player, is more super gospel, old blues, Lightning Hopkins, Elmore James, all that kind of stuff. Professor Longhair. I don't listen to a lot of new stuff. I have a lot of friends. Like, a lot of the bands around here are doing great stuff. There's a core. There's bands like Howlin' Rain. There's bands like, there's this girl, Jessica Pratt, who just moved down to L.A., but she's doing really cool stuff. Lots of bands. We had a big party at our release party and kind of had everybody come and sit in. We had like 10 guest artists, and we learned a bunch of songs, and it was a very familiar, it was a family. Learned songs and played together, and it was really cool. But it was a cool scene. There's always San Francisco is getting a lot of press for forcing artists out. Mm-hmm. I'm lucky to be under rent control and have a place here. And then I just saw Chuck Prophet last night. He's another cool guy who's on the scene, and I'm glad he's a San Franciscan and he's still staying here. He's not leaving. He's not moving to L.A. or anything. He's great. But there's always this hint of psychedelia and different stuff that comes in just from being in San Francisco.
Do you have particular places that you all have really liked playing, whether it's the venue itself or the town?
Ever since I moved here, as soon as I stepped foot into the Fillmore here, I was like, church. I'm a huge fan of music and music history and all that kind of stuff. You walk into a place where they greet you when you walk in. They say, "Welcome to the Fillmore." There's a big bowl of apples they would give out, usually because people are taking a bunch of acid and not really drinking or doing anything, so they would just have some fruit. And the pictures are there. Just like you go in there and you're like, wow, Jimi Hendrix stood on the stage, or Jefferson Airplane, or all this, the Dead. And it's cool. And I was at the Great American Music Hall last night, which is another great venue. It used to be a bordello, but it's just a very ornate, beautiful place. And there's just lots of crazy stuff. I would walk through this North Beach, which is where City Lights bookstore is, and that's where Kerouac and Dylan, there's famous pictures of Dylan standing with Ginsberg there, and I think they put out How when that came out. And I would see Paul Kantner from the Jefferson Airplane sitting out at Cafe Trieste, where supposedly Coppola wrote The Godfather there, and it's just crazy. It's just a cool place to be, being from Ohio,
Right. Although Cincinnati is quite a cool place. It's got quite a scene.
It does, and it's great, and lots of cool stuff. Friends of mine in a band called Wussy have been doing, they've had a great year.
Love them. I've been trying to track them down, and they're on the road when I'm available and vice versa. They are fantastic.
Yeah, they're great. They were just kind of coming together, right? Well, they were together when I moved away, but I used to play with Ponies, Buck's old band, but they're great. I met Lisa before she even knew how to play guitar, I think. She was just a fast learner, but then they got on. She hung out with Chuck, who's a great songwriter, and they just took off. This year has been their best year. I think they're doing really good.
Make note, we're trying to get them on the show, y'all.
Heartless Bastards. They're from Cincinnati. They live in Austin now, but another great band that I really look up to and respect Erica's songwriting and singing and all that stuff. She's from Dayton, so Dayton's another big indie rock place. Dayton's like I don't want to call it a scumbag town, but it's funny. It's just a cool little Ohio town. Nothing's really going on, but the Breeders are from there, Guided by Voices, a bunch of cool stuff. So
I'm your host, Sloane Spencer. You can keep in touch with us on Facebook, but I really like Twitter, where we are at Country Fried Rock, ending with ROK. And if you want to see pictures of my shoes, my dog, and my lunch, stop by Instagram. But whatever way you like to hang out, stop by and say hey.
Hey, this is Lee Gallagher of Lee Gallagher and the Hallelujah. Our website is leegallaghermusic.com. Our new record just came out. Please stop by. You can get the vinyl, the CDs, or download it on iTunes.
Our Country Fried Rock limited edition number 4 t-shirts are only available until March 16th. And when they're gone forever. Order yours today at teespring.com/countryfriedrock4.
As y'all are getting ready to kick off this run in March, do you have anybody going with you? Are you opening for anybody? Are you doing it yourselves? What's up with that?
We're doing it ourselves. We're playing a festival in Boise, Idaho, and then we're going to go up to Portland and Seattle and come back down. And then we hope to, in late summer, the plan is to tour with this guy who calls himself the Mad Alchemist, doing liquid light shows in San Francisco, and he's been around. He was actually a photographer for Rocky Erickson from the 13th Floor Elevators back in the day. And he's a really groovy, cool guy who is bringing back the analog liquid, like what you see on TV in the 60s, like the oil and the water and the color, and it's really like an art form with the plates and moving the plates through projectors onto the screen.
Wow.
And he just did a big European run with this band called Temples, who are really taking off. And he loves my band, and so we've worked together before, and it kind of works with the music, and so we're going to go on a bigger run out to Chicago, New York, through the South. Who knows? But that's going to be like late July, early August, like a 3-week run. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He takes the whole thing. It's really grown. His light shows grow, and he's doing like 8 projectors now, and it's really intense, cool thing because they really, well, all lights do, but they really go with the music and what's happening to the music and stuff. So.
From a technical standpoint, is he making the visual vibe happen as he's listening?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
He mixes the colors and does all the oils, but then he has these plates, and he has other guys, and he really listens to the music, and of course it gets better as he gets more familiar with your music and stuff, but he knows when stuff's going to happen,
right.
And stuff is swirling all around. Like, he can really transform any kind of venue into like you're in outer space, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Especially to bring it on the road and kind of go on a tour with that, because people don't get to see that kind of stuff. There's only like a handful of people who do it in the world, so it's pretty cool.
So, all right, so you mentioned that y'all had some vinyl made in Nashville. Tell me about that.
Well, I think there's only like 3 or 4 big vinyl places in the country, and United is based out of Nashville, and they're one that kind of just, I don't know, I called them, and they're kind of doing what I want to do, so it was a good place. I have family down in Nashville, so, I want to support those people.
Did y'all have to do any different mixing or mastering or anything for the vinyl?
You did master for vinyl. That's another cool thing that I got to do since I live here is this guy, George Horn, mastered our record, and I got to go and sit there and watch him do it. And this guy, if you Wikipedia George Horn, he has done everything. Neil Young, The Dead, he did the Basement Tapes. He was actually doing a Muddy Waters record when I walked in. He's like, let me finish this up, and then And he really has a cool, unique sound to what he does, and mastering is kind of mysterious to me, but he did it. Cut the lacquer there. It's actually like a physical machine that cuts this piece. And then you mail it to Nashville, and then they make it.
Lee Gallagher, I am looking forward to hopefully catching a show for y'all on the road, but I know for sure that our listeners would love to see that light show.
Oh, yeah. Well, Sloane, thanks for having me. And, yeah, I hope to get out to the East Coast and the South and all that stuff very soon.
Very cool. Safe travels to y'all, and congrats on the new record. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
countryfriedrock.org. Copyright 2015. All rights reserved. Our 2015 bed music is from Drivin' and Cryin's debut album, Scarred But Smarter. Got a great band you want to hear on Country Fried Rock? The best thing to do is tweet us at Country Fried Rock. That's Country Fried, R-O-K.
You can subscribe to our weekly podcast on iTunes. Just search Country Fried Rock. Country Fried Rock radio programs are distributed to public radio through the Public Radio Exchange, prx.org. Our Country Fried Rock stinger is from Steve Soto and the Twisted Hearts.
Ever he been helping us some country fried rock.